This is Chet Holmgren, and I'm down to dunk.
This is AJ Mitchell, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Alex Caruso, and I'm down to dunk.
It's like baby bottle pop. Yeah.
This is Adam Flagler, and I'm down to dunk.
Hey, it's Isaiah Hartenstein, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Kason Wallace, and I'm down to dunk.
I can't spell Lucas. Hey, how do you spell Lucas? How do you spell Lucas?
This is Lou Dort, and I'm down to Dort.
This is Nikola Topic, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Dylan Jones, and I'm down to dunk. This is Isaiah Joe, and I'm down to dunk.
And there's probably like 50 to 75 Beanie Babies.
Give me like your top 3 Pokemon.
Bro, I can't even name.
This is Jay Will, and I'm down to dunk.
Sometimes the way his brain works is it leaves a lot to be desired.
This is Kenrich Williams, and I'm down to dunk.
Charmander.
Yeah.
Charmander. Or you're more of a Charmeleon guy.
Charmeleon.
This is Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and I'm down to dunk.
Schlecht. You know what it
Schlecht?
means? Yeah.
That means like bad.
It means bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me.
Well, it was a good interview, so it wasn't bad.
J-Dub, year 3, and I'm down to dunk for the 3rd time. Thank you.
Welcome to Down to Dunk. I'm your host, Andrew Schlecht. We're part of the Athletic Podcast Network. With me, as always, on Mondays, is my good friend, Michele Berra. Michele, what's up?
Well, it's good to be back on Monday with you. I mean, podding with Alex has been a blast, but, regular stuff. It's our, routine.
It's good to get back in a routine for sure. Feels good. Again, very thankful to Al for filling in for me for the week that I was gone. But I'm back now, and as are the Thunder, who just keep on winning. They beat the Clippers last night. They beat the Hornets, the kind of Hornets, on Friday night in OKC. They beat in what I thought was like one of like the more. It was kind of a nasty game, honestly, between the Clippers and Thunder, but it was extremely physical. I thought, this game grinded to a halt toward the end. It felt like a playoff game in some ways where like the whistle isn't necessarily going to be the thing that's going to get you this win. Like you're going to have to make shots and you're going to have to play ridiculous half-court defense. And the Thunder did both of those, really thanks to Alex Caruso.
Yeah.
Who was the only player that scored in the last 2 minutes. He was
gone again. Andrew, you're gone again. Apparently, there is some issue with Andrew's audio.
My back?
You're back and loud now.
Okay, I'm back and loud now. Okay, weird. Okay, let me check something really quick before. Okay, we should be good now. This should be good. Okay.
Yep.
Anyways, Alex Caruso. One, don't really understand why he didn't get player of the game on the Thunder broadcast last night. They gave it to Aaron Wiggins. Scored 19 points. He had a nice game. But to me, the guy who won the game for the Thunder was Alex Caruso. And you start to see this is why they want the guy. Because he made winning play after winning play down the stretch, whether it be defensively, offensively, on the boards. The guy was a maniac in the final 2 minutes of the game. And to me, like, you don't win that game without AC. So big shouts to Caruso.
Yeah, he had like a very, very good last 5 minutes of the game. I think that he had, in general, a very good game after the first quarter where he smoked a layup.
There were some rough first quarter moments for sure.
Yeah, I think that he airballed 1 or 2 trees. But that's, let's talk a little bit about the context of these games, of this game in particular. OKC has literally nothing to play for except home court advantage in a potential final. That is the amount of things that OKC will play for over the next, 11 games, which is basically nothing. Mm-hmm. The Clippers are fighting to get out of the play-in race, which, believe it or not, even if I think that they are good enough to win 2 play-in games, nobody wants to do that.
You just never know what's going to happen. Yeah. I mean, the Warriors have lost in the play-in with Steph Curry on their team. So you you can't count on just because you're the better team getting out of the play-in.
Exactly. You can get Dallas hot for one game with AD with 1.5 legs, and you can be cooked for one night.
Or Sacramento. I know that people are like dogging on Sacramento, but if Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan shoot 60% from the field in a game, you're just screwed. So you just don't want to mess with the play-in if you don't have to.
Exactly. So they are fighting hard, fully healthy, which is not what OKC had. And in general, in the first half, they played so physical, and the refs allowed that to happen. I think that OKC was a little bit caught by surprise early on, and they adjusted in due time. And so it was not the easiest game. And Shea had probably the worst game of the season. Not probably.
By shooting percentage, yes. He without a doubt did.
Yeah. He did not play bad basketball. He tried to defend. He passed the ball to at a high level, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But like shooting-wise, he was just off. And you can say that the Clippers did a great job. They were pushing him. They were just being handsy on him. They had Derrick Jones, Dunn, Kawhi, like all of them just take turns on Shea. And it was effective. OKC won anyway. And I think that they left something on the table in terms of wide open threes that just clank for no reason. I think that OKC tried 35 threes. I don't have the number in front of me. I will search while I talk. But 80% of those, 70% of those were wide open. So I really think that this is a game that shows you a little bit of incremental toughness that this team is getting to without having Chet, without having Dub, and with just having not the greatest game for your star. You have Caruso being perfect, as you mentioned. You have Jay Will coming in and nailing everything that he touches. You have Aaron Wiggins just being, again, a very good player at various points, the focus of your attack with the second unit while being efficient. So there are tons of things in this game that you can take and say, these are very nice stuff. Shea's not having it, and you find a way to grind the win with Caruso making the right decision after right decision, especially the last one of fouling the right player to just stop the clock and don't allow like a weird last second three.
Yeah, that was crucial. It was just the decision making, and some of it was too. I mean, Tyronn Lue apparently didn't quite understand that he didn't have a timeout.
Yeah, that was bad.
I think he thought he had 2 left, and he burned a timeout after. I mean, Zubats got fouled, and so there was reason to be upset, but they just went off the deep end, freaking out about the non-call. And because of that, he ended up calling a timeout, wanted to get them set up for an out-of-bounds play, I guess, which Caruso ended up getting the steal on anyways. But like this, I mean, that's the reason why he called the timeout. And then there's 3 seconds left in a 1-possession game, and you can't advance the ball because you don't have a timeout. Like, it's just those like game management decisions that usually Lue is really great at, but I think kind of cost the Clippers down the stretch. Is just like the smallest things that, and I think it's good for the Thunder to play in these games. They've played in hardly any of these close games this season just because they're that much better than everybody. But yeah, it was a problem. Yeah, Zach Vobernick in the chat points out that the official fumbled the challenge explanation. It was one of the worst.
So bad.
So bad. One of the worst explanations ever. Because I think that he said that it was successful and unsuccessful at the same time. And he was just mixing his words up. It was just a disaster. It was a disaster. Yeah. But and some of that's, just weird circumstances. But like they needed that timeout. And I thought that Degnault handled this game really well with his rotations. The Thunder actually did okay with Shea off the court. And that's part of like why they were able to, get this win, is that really, they started off terrible with Shea out there. And then they were able to get into a groove when he went off the court. And it was really just the Thunder system with, Hartenstein had 6 assists in this game. Caruso had 5. Dort had 2. Kaysen had 2. J. Will, who had another really nice game, had 2. Kenrich had 2. Wiggs had 1. Like, everyone was just passing the ball at a high level, moving throughout the court like they should. The ball was just pinging around like a Spurs team from 10 years ago. I mean, it's really what we have always wanted in a basketball team. We've talked about it for years and years, and we've been doing this show for so long, and we would always kind of be jealous of these teams that move the basketball and play this way, both offensively and defensively. And here they are in Oklahoma City. It's pretty spectacular to watch. And they were able to get, it was a good team win. We've seen like these quote unquote like team system wins whenever everybody sits, but those games have been against teams like the Blazers, who, yes, they played good basketball, but still, like, that's not the toughest team. Mm-hmm. And then against like Charlotte, they were shorthanded, but it's like that Hornets
or
team,
the Sixers, where
or the Sixers. Yes,
if you lose that game, you can say, it's okay anyway. I just increased my odds a little bit. So nice wins, but not meaningful wins. Just to give a framework of the aberration that this game has been for Shea, let me read a few numbers. Transition, 0.8 points per possession. He is averaging 1.25 for the regular season. Pick and roll ball handler, 0.86. He's at 1.1 during the season. Isolation, which might be the worst one, 0.44.
Yikes.
He's averaging 1.05. Sorry, 1.08, not 105. So he is just he played like just a weird game. Again, maybe a little bit is, hey, the Clippers did something okay defensively. They were swarming him. They were just aggressive. But it's also, Shea's not that bad anyway. Like, I wouldn't count on him having a series like that. So, just
and even though it wasn't a very good game for Shea, statistically, he still is doing this thing where he's scored 20 points in 64 consecutive games, which has only been done by 4 other players in the history of the league. Mm-hmm. And it was Kevin Durant, who his games in a row was 64. And so if Shea gets one more against Sacramento, then he'll have surpassed Kevin Durant's number and now vault himself into only 4 total players in the history of the game have had 65 or more. So that's pretty cool. Michael Jordan is the other one at 69. Nice. Which he could surpass that this season. And then you have Oscar Robertson, who had 76 consecutive games. And then the one that we all know, Wilt Chamberlain, did it actually twice. And 80 is his longest streak.
Wow.
So, pretty astonishing.
He's at 64. Want to know he has a few games where he can get to more.
And they've got 11 games left.
Yeah.
And, they have Sacramento, they're feisty, but like defensively, he should be able to take care of business. Mm-hmm. Memphis on Thursday. Memphis is kind of falling apart.
Yeah, but still, they may get up for one game.
Yeah. Indiana at home, which is kind of a sneaky game. Like Indy's good. Indy's played well recently. The return of Josh Giddey on Monday the 31st.
By the way, can I stop you there?
Yeah.
Have you watched the game between the Bulls and the Lakers?
I didn't watch it in totality, but I have watched some of it. Yes.
what a disgrace the Lakers are defensively. Like, it's, I know that I will regret saying this, but man, they can't guard anything.
It was really bad. That was, I mean, for Josh to have 8 steals.
Yeah. He defended Luka in a normal way.
He was pesky. He was pesky for sure.
So slow. Like, when you can shake Josh Giddey, you have problems, my friend.
Yeah.
Like, Josh can have a good game, but I mean, I don't believe you can really like play like that. And they were at a certain point in the fourth quarter, they had like Luka, Reeves, Vanderbilt, Finney-Smith, and LeBron on the floor. That should be one of the best units defensively. Chicago was just torching them.
Yeah.
Torching. And it's not just hot shooting. It's they try to play zone and like, I mean, you can't like play so slow on defense, like just leaving the corner open and stuff like that. So it's weird more so than conclusive because it's one night. Anything can happen on one night. And I don't watch the Lakers every single night. I watched a few games though over the past 2-3 weeks. And it's not that different. They are just bad, very bad defensively. And I'm not sure that you can really count on having an offensive series that can keep you in a series against teams like the Clippers or I don't know, Memphis. Like, if you defend like that and the other team has a driver like Ja and Harden, I mean,
well, they just don't have any rim protection.
Yeah.
That's it. It is a big problem not having any like true rim protection. So, yeah, I think the Thunder match up quite well with that team, just because they're not a team that can get back in transition. And if the Thunder can make it a track meet and the Lakers turn the ball over, like they're toast.
Yeah,
because the Thunder can play super fast, and I don't believe the Lakers can. I just don't think they're well suited to play up and down, which is funny because like small ball is probably their best option.
Yeah, the lineup I was discussing before. This is entirely my fault. I
was going to say, I was like, is there something wrong? We're having some audio issues today.
It's me. I just weirdly unplugged the mic. Yeah, that's me being old. All right.
Anyways, enough Lakers talk. Let's talk more about this Thunder team who sit at the top of the West. They're 59-12.
Nice.
59-12. I'll say it again, 59-12. That is wild. The Thunder have never, ever been 59-12 since their existence. They have never had the best record in the NBA since they've been in Oklahoma City. They've never won more than 60 games since they've been in Oklahoma City. Both things are probably going to happen as the Cavs have slid and are 6-4 in their last 10. They lost 4 in a row. The Thunder are 9-1 in the last 10. They have a 6-game winning streak going on. We'll see what happens down the stretch. The Thunder have a 13.5 game lead on the second seed Rockets currently. The Cavs have a 5-game lead on Boston. I think both teams are going to be able to rest their players down the stretch of the season, and the Thunder just keep winning games despite that. No, there's not many gimme games down the stretch. They do kind of end the season with some gimme games. They do play Phoenix on the road, Utah on the road, and the Pelicans on the road to end the season. We'll see where Phoenix is at by the time we get to that game, where it could be meaningless, honestly. Anthony Davis is supposed to return for the Mavericks, which seems interesting, I guess, would be the way to put it. If I were Anthony Davis's people, I would not want him to return this season. And if I were the Mavericks fans, I don't necessarily think I would want him to return this season either, because I would much rather have a lottery pick than take this team into the play-in and into a potential playoff series. But whatever.
Hey, priorities. You never know what Nico is thinking.
Yeah, that's the truest statement ever. You just never know what Nico is thinking. You never know. But yeah, this is the Thunder find themselves in a great spot. Honestly, it is just wild that what they've been able to do throughout this season. And like I said, 6-game winning streak, which I believe is the longest active winning streak currently. Yes, it is in the NBA.
Yeah, after the loss of the Rockets last night, probably.
Yep. The Rockets, I think, were on a 9-game win streak until they lost. They still have this outrageous net rating, even after only winning by a couple last night. They're still set to hold this record for net rating in the NBA, which just shows you how dominant they are. Plus 12.7 net rating, which is just insane. Just absolutely insane that they've been able to hold that. And the offense continues to get better. That's the thing that was kind of holding the Thunder back, and people are questioning, like, how good is this Thunder offense? Well, they're up to 4th in offensive rating on the season. And
same number as Denver, which is 3rd. So you can say they're there.
And if you look post All-Star break, they're the number 1 offense in the league at a 123.8. Still holding the league's best net rating at 12.5. Defensively, they have slid back since the All-Star break to 7th. But we also know that they can ratchet that up. And they've also had just weird games since the All-Star break, where who's in, who's out, what's happening. I don't know. I mean, last night, yes, I do think there's a lot to take away, because the Thunder's depth won them that game. And, the fact that they can go 12, 13 deep and still feel good about their roster is pretty amazing. But they're doing all of this without J-Dub for the most part. Last night without Chet. And it's just, honestly, it's super impressive. And I don't know what you thought when you saw the starting lineup last night of Shea, Caruso, Dort, Kaysen, and Ihart. But it got me kind of excited whenever I saw what the starting lineup was, just because that is 3 of the best point of attack defenders in the league against, Kawhi and James Harden and Norman Powell for that matter, which is just theater in itself. And then Hartenstein has been unbelievable lately. 14, 10, and 6 for him, 2 steals, 3 blocks. He was so good yesterday. And then
I don't even know that lately is a word that we should use with Hartenstein. He has been amazing from the beginning of the season.
It's so true.
How many times did you feel disappointed by iHeart? I mean, there have been a few games where you say, maybe this is not a great iHeart game, but for the most part,
I'm trying to even think of when that would have been.
Yeah, me neither. But I mean, there have been games where it was not exceptional. I can say that.
Yeah.
But this is the critique that we can put on the table here. Sometimes it's not exceptional. that is about it. Did we have a pod after the Boston game?
Not you and I. No.
Yeah. I mean, I was impressed by defense that OKC put on the court on that particular game. I love Doris Burke. She's always very smart. And she was in complete disbelief in the second half. And he was saying to Mark Jones, look, they can't catch. They can't catch without having a Thunder player completely in their grill. They played such an aggressive game. And I know that the 3-point percentage comes and goes from the opponents. And clearly, against Boston, probably OKC had shooting luck because they had like not the greatest shooting quality, but not to justify the percentage that OKC has, that Boston had, especially in the first game. But you can't deny that they played such a great game. And when you see that, then you can believe, the defensive ratings slipped a bit. They are 1.111 instead of 1.7. 4 points per possession are not a small feat. This is a very big number. But you can also say, look at them when it counts. Look at them when they really want to push you hard defensively. They can get to that. They can adjust their physicality between quarter number 1 and quarter number 2 and do it in a heartbeat so that you think you have a certain game on your hand and then you don't. Mm-hmm. And this is such a great feat of these teams that they can just change the course of the game. They don't always do that. Sometimes they just do it and shoot themselves in the foot like against Mini. But most time than not, they can really change the course of the game defensively. And you're right. Offensively, it's not just they are shooting better, which is clearly something that you can say after the beginning of the season. They are finding steady contribution from guys that were not contributing at this level. They are playing better. They are generating better shots, even if you have half of the league, if not the entire league, trying to understand how to defend you. They are getting better production from Kaysen. They are getting such a great production from Wicks. Even Kenrich and Jay Will are playing better than the beginning of the season. You mentioned High Hart. I mean, he has been such an integral part on why they're playing better. And I was a little bit afraid about how long it will take to him and Chet to just not being in their own way. It took them probably 3 games, and I'm not saying that they are playing perfect basketball. Don't get me wrong. There is a lot to do, but you can see an offense functioning to a high enough level with these two in the court. Was it against Boston that they were playing big to big pick and roll? I think it was.
Yes, that was one of the games that they were doing that, where it can be either one of them.
Yeah,
which is what's really fun.
Choose in advance.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you look at the numbers on the double big lineup, and there's 433 possessions according to Cleaning the Glass with those two. They're a plus 15.2.
Yeah,
like that is very good, very good. And what's working is the points per 100 possessions. They're 126.8 points per 100 possessions with those two on the court.
Yeah.
Like offensively, it's just absolutely working. Their offensive rebound percentage, whenever they're both out there, is in the 95th percentile.
Yeah.
So it's like, and that's, of course, like you play double big, that's going to happen. But the fact that you can play with the court spread out and have that kind of offensive rebound percentage is just wild. Defensively, they're good. They're not great. They're at a 111.5, which is the 77th percentile. So they're pretty good defensively with room to grow, is what I would say.
For the season, that is still top 10 in the league.
Yeah.
Just that unit alone.
Yeah. So they're not like this historic defense with those two, but like they're very good. They're very good. Which is just, it's very interesting to see how that unfolds. And a lot of that lineup has been played with Shea on the court, but with Shea off the court, this is even more interesting to me and something that I hope that they do a lot. With Shea off the court and the double big out there, which has only happened in 75 possessions.
Yeah, it's very little. Yeah.
They're a plus 20.
Yeah. They have been great against Boston. They have been great in a few other games where Dub was not there and Mark decided, hey, let's put Wiggs, Kenrich, those two guys and Kaysen or Caruso,
Yeah.
and woo, that works because they can play basketball. They know how to play basketball. And to be honest, I mean, if Jay Will is shooting like this, yeah, I mean, play him with Shea and
You mean
forget
perfectly?
No, not perfectly, but 40%. I think that Jay asked you to check on the last few weeks from Jay Will, and he's shooting very well. I don't remember which part of the season it was, probably from January or something, or from the All-Star break. He's improving on that end. And he's so quick and confident that this might be the most important thing. You reposted one of the possessions where they had against Charlotte, where they just pinballed the ball, and then he landed on Jay Will's hand in the corner, and he just shoot it immediately. And I think that also Ryland posted it and said, no dip from Jay Will. That is such an important part of Jay Will's development. He's not just hitting shots, which is very nice, but it's also improving the process. I mean, he's much quicker. He never, ever hesitate. He just launch it. And you need to close out. Like, if you're starting from below the rim when Jay Will catches, you're done. You're cooked. Last year, he had like probably half a second more, and then you can really close out. If you do that, if you improve in this way in one season in terms of, hey, I'm getting really quick in getting these shots up, then it can change. Then you can play him because he is, again, dangerous out there.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to, which is the main point. You don't have to play him. You have a weapon that you can use if you feel that he can give you something, even in a playoff setting. If you get the right game and he goes 2 out of 4 from 3, those minutes will be important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, since January 1, which is 36 games that Jay Will has played, he's shooting 37% from 3.
Yeah.
You know, he shot like 52%, I think, since the All-Star break, but it's like 14 games, I think. But this is a large enough sample to show, like, yeah, he's improved as a shooter. And he has taken to some of the stuff that Chip has been teaching him, which is why you have Chip around and why you're paying him as much as you are, is to help guys like Jay Will learn to shoot, who was not a shooter coming out of college. He was willing to take them, but he was not a guy that could shoot it coming out of college. So since January 1, there's only there's only 4 players that are shooting below 36% from 3 on the Thunder.
How many you said?
4.
Mm-hmm. Do I need to guess them?
If you'd like to.
Yeah. Less than 36%.
Yep. I mean, this is all the players, by the way.
All the players?
All the players.
So Usman Jang?
Us is shooting 42%.
Oh, shoot. Flagler?
Flagler. Shout out to Adam Flagler. He is shooting.
Why will I pick Jang before Flagler?
I don't know. He's shooting 13.9%. I feel bad. For him
Dylan Jones.
Dylan Jones is shooting 25% from 3.
iHeart
shooting 0% from 3. Took another one. Was it against? Yeah, it was against the Hornets. Which you know, keep taking them, man. Fire away.
You have to do that. I missed one, right?
Yeah, and this one doesn't really count. It's AJ, and it was in 2 games.
Oh, okay.
So it doesn't. That one doesn't really count. But everybody else is shooting 36% or better, which is pretty wild. And like the top guys, which a couple of these, well, I mean, one of these definitely doesn't count. Like Dukas is shooting 56%, and that's the
counts.
best.
He's a marksman.
Sure. Brandon Carlson next at 48.6%.
Wow.
Isaiah Joe shooting 43.6% since January 1. Us, like I mentioned, is 4th on the list at 42%. And these next three, really these next four are, all these guys are important, but like these guys as role players are really important. And they've all been hitting their shots since January 1. Alex Caruso, 42%, Cason Wallace, 41%, Lugan Dort, 40%, and Aaron Wiggins, 39.6%.
Yeah. I mean, Wiggs is having this 2, 3, 4, 5 game slump, and then just come back and he's awesome.
Yeah, he was great last night. The confidence, even after like he airballed a three and he clanged one off of the backboard, and he just came right back down. I think he hit his next one off the catch. I mean, his confidence is super important.
Yeah,
to this Thunder squad. And he, since January 1, is averaging 14.1 points per game. 14, 4, and 2.
Yeah, that is exciting. I mean, last year, I think that we had a pod, I don't remember who was on it, saying what Wiggins has to do, like all the guys. I mean, and we both said, I think, hey, he needs to hoist more. He just has to shoot more. And he's doing that way more than we anticipated him doing. And he's just, I mean, he's not shooting 49% like last year, but this is way more meaningful. Like, I don't care if he's now a normal good shooter, like 38, 39, whatever. That is way more impactful. People are paying attention. They are afraid of the drive, so they are kind of in the in-between because they know that they cannot really get too much close to Wiggs because he's very capable of beating them off the dribble, which is something that Cason is getting good at, which is, again, very important. And then he's just taking a lot of threes, which is exactly what this team needs. This team needs a role player that can really put up shots. I remember Stem and Gandhi discussing Horford and the fact that he was letting him taking open threes because he was just a guy who took like 4 or 5 threes maybe. And it's not important. Now Horford is no longer that player, but the crucial thing for me was, hey, if you know that this is a role player and he's not getting shots up, even if you let him in volume, then just forget about them. Yeah. And Dort was this way until it wasn't. Wiggins, again, is improving in that end. And for Cason, he needs the other team to know, hey, if you let me, I will take 15 threes and you will pay for it. They like everybody knows that Isaiah Joe is that guy. If he starts, you're done. You're cooked. And so they don't allow him to. For Wiggs and Cason is starting to get into that kind of, I would say, gravity.
Yeah. Yeah, it is important. It was one of the things that Mark had talked about before the season about some of these guys are shooting a higher volume. Even just look back at last year and where Wiggs was last year from January to into March, and he's averaging 7 points per game. And he had the efficiency was through the roof, 56% from the field, 49% from three, but he's only taking 1.8 threes. He's taking 5 shots a game.
Yeah.
The impact wasn't quite there. Like, it wasn't felt.
Thank God, otherwise that contract would not have been signed. I mean, can you imagine a guy like scoring 14 points in this efficiency signing that deal?
No,
you don't.
No, there's no way.
Yeah,
there is absolutely no chance. And like now, I mean, he's been the 4th leading scorer on the team. 50, almost 50, 40, 82, since the new year.
Yeah.
And
still 4th for the season.
Yeah. He's taking five threes a game during that time. Yeah. I mean, to take your volume from 1.8 this time last year to 5.1.
Yeah.
It's not easy to do as a player. And for him to be able to do it, it's quite impressive. It's very, very impressive. I mean, you look at the guys that are taking more than 5 threes or around 5 threes per game. J-Dub, Wiggins, Shea, who has shot the ball well, by the way, from threes, 39% from 3 since January 1. Lou at 5.8 and Joe at 6.4, which is very important. They were a little bit more choosy with the way that they took threes last year, and the volume just wasn't there for them. Like the percentage was there, but the volume wasn't there. And I just think like the volume matters so much.
Yeah.
I mean, from January 1 to the end of March last year, there was one player averaging 5 threes a game, and it was Lou Dort. That was it. I mean, this team, while a lot of the personnel is the same, is vastly different than they were last year. Like this is, and I don't think people quite grasp that yet. I think that not only is this team a year older, I think they're better equipped having Caruso and Hartenstein, who we talked about both those guys on this show already. But they are shifting their style of play too. And I also think just like not having a non-floor spacing guard in Giddey really helps the offense. But they're shifting the way they play. They have shifted the way that they play quite a bit this season with the kinds of threes that they take and the kinds of threes they can generate and what the offense can and can't do. Like it is different than it was last year. And they are preparing themselves for the playoffs. And you could see it even last night with the way that they were able to generate shots in really tight situations. You know, they are preparing themselves for playoff basketball. And you can see it in the stats if you go look for them, and you can certainly see it in the way that they're playing. And so it's outrageously impressive. And, you know, for people that are tuning in, you know, to watch the Thunder team this year, and just kind of assuming this is the same team from last year with just a couple guys added, like they're not. Like they're evolving, they're adjusting, and they are a vastly better team than they were last year. It's like not even close. Like if this team was somehow able to hop on a time machine and play the team from last year, they would smoke them.
Yeah.
Like it would not be much of a contest. Like they are that much better, you know, this year than they were last year.
Yeah, they basically after All-Star break, they are taking 6 more threes compared to last year per game.
Yeah.
Which is a very stark improvement. It's like 18% more, which is a very good number. And they are basically shooting them at the same, if not better, percentage.
Mm-hmm.
So, this team is just a machine. They can get in their own way. I think they can have moments where, I mean, the fact that this was the first time that they won a game that was a clutch one. It's definitely something that you think about. I don't want to take or to draw grand conclusions or analysis out of that. I think that there is a lot of randomness in that.
They've lost 12 games.
Yeah, exactly. But you can see games where they have been not optimal. This is what you can say. And will that amount to what in the postseason? We don't know. They need to be there. They need to prove in the playoffs that they can get to this level for any amount of game that they have to win. But guess what? This applies to everyone. It's not that if you have done it, then you can do it again. Otherwise, this game will be extremely boring. Once you do it, then you know how to do it repeatedly, which is something that very few team does, even if they win 72 or whatever. So I'm extremely curious to see how this team will approach the playoffs, how the opponents are going to play this team. Because last year, it was pretty clear what they could do. They don't guard Giddey and see what happens. New Orleans, they didn't do that. They paid. Dallas, they didn't do that. They didn't pay. Rebounds, they just smoke OKC on the boards. Mm-hmm. And that was something that everybody was saying for the entire season. What can they say now? For sure. Did they have to prove it? Sure. So I'm extremely curious to see what can be exploited from this team.
Yeah.
Where and how they will fight through adversity, which kind of adversities, and it's curious to me what will happen, because I mean you can say they will win every game, that can happen, but I think that it's so interesting to see what will come up, what Tyler will come up with, or Finch or Malone or Redick, whoever is going to play against Ime Udoka.
And then, what does Mark do?
Exactly. And how Mark reacts.
Yeah.
This is something that I can't wait to watch. How Shea will react to coverage. How this team will just react to a playoff environment that maybe will not go their way immediately. I mean, these stuff are, yes, those are question marks, but it's also so exciting. I can't really wait to see how a team that has been historically great in this regular season will impact, will approach, will play when it matters.
11 more games, Michele, and then we get to see some playoff basketball. We appreciate you guys.
Sleep.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I said, and no sleep then.
And no,
or even less than what we are getting now. So exciting.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be so great. I cannot wait for the playoffs. Thank you guys so much for listening to our show. If you would, please subscribe to our YouTube page. If you're somehow watching on YouTube and you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the YouTube page. That would mean a ton to me. Also, leave us a 5-star review in Apple Podcasts. That would also mean a lot. Hope everybody's doing great, and we'll talk to you guys again on Wednesday.